stressful. I mean, ever since the Friday morning when we noticed that the children were gone. Immediately jumped in the vehicle, surveyed all the areas, many dirt roads, many culverts as it could, and waited for the police to get there.
When somebody goes missing and we become engaged as any police officer, not just major crime, we will look at all the details and make considerations on the information we have, right? When it comes to a missing person, we have to automatically consider those, are there people that have different charter implications and things like that? So we will automatically start to consider what evidence is pointing us towards a suspicious in nature. Again, I can't comment more than that, but every missing person case, we would approach it from the same process. A methodical collection and review of information with decisions based on that.
They were just playing their own backyard until they weren't. Two siblings vanished without a trace, leaving a tight-knit rural community and the world gripped by fear, hope, and unending questions. But as investigators and volunteers flooded the dense Nova Scotia woods, combing every foot of underbrush, puzzling inconsistencies began to emerge. Not in the forest, but in the very people who claimed to have lost their children. This is a story of how Lilly and Jack Sullivan's parents deceived us all. From the moment the alarm was raised on the morning of May 2nd, 2025, authorities treated the disappearance as high stakes. 6-year-old Lilly and her 4-year-old brother Jack were reported missing from a modest trailer home on Gairloch Road, surrounded by pine and birch. Within minutes, the RCMP had established a command post. Within hours, 160 volunteers fanned out across marshy bogs and creeks. For K-9 units plunged through undergrowth, drones hovered overhead. Helicopters sliced through the mist. Yet, after days of exhaustive searching, only 2 small boot prints, 10 feet from the back porch, emerged as evidence. No toys, no backpacks, no broken twigs, and no sign of the children. Behind this bewildering absence of evidence, however, lay an even more perplexing truth. The people who should have been most frantic, the children's stepfather, Daniel Martell, and their mother, Malia Brooks Murray, consistently told a story that strained credulity. Their words and behaviors revealed red flags that, piece by piece, exposed a deception so fundamental it cast the entire case in a new light. In the immediate aftermath, Martell and Murray issued near-identical statements. They had slept until nearly 10 a.m., awoke to find Lilly and Jack gone, and realized the children must have slipped out the sliding glass door and wandered off. In a typical home, that might sound plausible. But consider this. Their trailer measured under 800 square feet. It was unfenced, set deep in isolated woods. In such a confined space, every creak, every footstep, every whisper should register, especially a sliding door notorious for its noisy track. Yet, neither adult heard the door open. Neither heard the children's laughter fade into silence. Neither described any honest, visceral panic. Instead, their demeanor struck many as chillingly composed. Martell's voice was unnaturally smooth, his delivery eerily rehearsed. In multiple interviews, televised segments, radio spots, press conferences, he repeated the same phrasing and pauses with near metronomic consistency. It was as if someone had recorded his statement and played it back each time. We woke up, went to check, and they were gone. Contrast that with Murray's performance. Hesitant, fragmented sentences, a persistent avoidance of the first-person pronoun I, and a tendency to shift responsibility with every clause. Together, they painted portraits of sorrow, yet their emotional contours didn't align with genuine grief. Instead, their words suggested a narrative carefully crafted and carefully controlled. Daniel's precision, identical lines, identical intonations, identical pauses across interviews. Malia's deflection, we did this, we did that, but never I, a refusal to fully own any part of the story. It is axiomatic in investigative work. Every minute matters. Yet when did Lilly and Jack truly disappear? Martell and Murray insisted that at 9:50 a.m. on May 2nd, they heard their children playing inside and only moments later discovered the sliding door ajar and the yard empty. But school bus records and the testimony of the bus driver reveal that neither child boarded the bus all week. Their last confirmed public appearance was April 29th, 3 days before the official disappearance. No one saw them on April 30th or May 1st. Murray claimed Lilly was homesick those days, but investigators found no medical records, No pharmacy records, no doctor's notes, and no neighbor corroboration. If Lilly truly had a cough or fever, who tended to her while her brother remained unsupervised? These unaccounted hours, dubbed the gap days, became the most scrutinized period of the entire case. Official story, last heard at 9:50 a.m. May 2nd. Bus records, last seen April 29th. Absent on April 30th and May 1st. Unverified illness. Claim of Lilly's sickness lacks any documentary evidence. When physical evidence contradicts the narrative, alarm bells should ring. Early reports describe Jack wearing nothing but a pull-up diaper and dinosaur print shoes, and Lilly carrying a white backpack patterned with strawberries. Yet in later interviews, both accounts shifted. Jack was fully dressed in brown pants and a matching shirt, and the backpack's location went from found near the home to possibly left behind somewhere in the woods. Then came another blow. A recording surfaced in which Murray suggested Lilly's favorite pink blanket might still be inside the trailer, contradicting Martel's earlier assertion that it had been recovered. In a disappearance where every personal item could mark a trail, the evolution of these basic details laid bare a web of inconsistencies. Initial claim: Jack in diaper and dinosaur shoes, Lilly with white strawberry backpack. Revised claim: Jack in brown outfit, backpack's fate uncertain. Blanket contradiction. Stepdad declares blanket found. Mom later doubts its recovery. In prime search conditions, a cool, moist forest known for holding human scent. Canine teams typically excel. But here, the dogs found no scent trail beyond the initial boot prints at the trailer's back porch. Search experts speculated that the ubiquitous scent of the children might have saturated the area, confusing the dogs. Yet others cautioned that, in ideal conditions, the complete absence of a trail suggests deliberate scene tampering. Meanwhile, drones and helicopters swept the canopy and undergrowth for days, but uncovered nothing. Underwater teams scoured ponds and coverts. No trace. After 7 days of wide area canvassing, the RCMP suspended broad searches for 10 days, without explanation. Then, with no new tips or leads, search teams returned exclusively to areas already cleared. The backyard, the porch perimeter, the same 2 boot print zone. Week 1, exhaustive search, 160 volunteers, drones, helicopters, canines. 10-day pause, suspension with no public rationale. Redeployment. Narrow research of ground previously cleared, hinting at doubts about initial findings. Perhaps the clearest indicator of official skepticism came when the RCMP requested private camera footage not only from May 2nd onward, but dating back 5 days to April 27th. In most missing persons cases, authorities seek footage from the disappearance date. By reaching into preceding days, investigators signaled they doubted even the parents' chosen day 0, suggesting the possibility that the true timeline was far more convoluted. Standard practice. Cameras reviewed from reported disappearance date. This case. Footage saw from April 27th onward, implying doubt about when the children vanished. A missing persons case is often shaped by the environment from which the subjects vanished. At the Sullivan trailer, neighbors who lived just a few hundred meters away claimed they didn't even know children resided there, despite reports of unusual foot traffic and unfamiliar vehicles at odd hours. Rumors of drug paraphernalia, pipes, cut-down bottles surfaced, and Child Protective Services had reportedly intervened, requiring Murray to leave with her youngest child at one point. None of these details confirm foul play, but they do depict a chaotic, unstable setting rife with potential motives for concealment. Neighbor testimony. No awareness of children's residence despite regular activity. Drug paraphernalia. Found on premises, though no formal charges publicly disclosed. CPS intervention. Reported removal of youngest child for safety concerns. Taken together, these red flags paint a portrait of deception rather than tragedy. Parents who should have been paralyzed by grief, instead, delivered scripted statements. Basic facts, such as disappearance dates and descriptions of clothing, shifted under scrutiny. Search operations paused and resumed without logic. Investigators reached back beyond the reported timeline, and the home itself revealed signs of dysfunction and potential motive. Rehearsed narratives. Identical phrasing and tone in multiple interviews raised suspicion of coach testimony. Timeline contradictions. The gap days between April 29th and May 2nd suggested alternate possibilities for the children's last known whereabouts. Evidence discrepancies. Inconsistent accounts of clothing, blankets, and personal items undercut parental credibility. Investigation anomalies. Search suspensions and pre-disappearance surveillance requests reflected official doubts. Contextual instability. Reports of drug paraphernalia and prior CPS interventions provided potential motives for concealment or worse. The disappearance of Lilly and Jack Sullivan underscores a vital truth in missing persons investigations. Sometimes the greatest threat to truth comes not from the force, but from those sworn to protect the missing. Deception at the heart of family can derail entire searches, mislead communities, and squander precious time. Investigators, volunteers, and citizens alike must remain vigilant to behavioral red flags, the subtle cues that hint at a deeper narrative. Compassion is crucial, but it must coexist with critical scrutiny. When parents act less like anguished guardians and more like rehearsed narrators, every statement deserves examination. 2 children vanished, and the world watched a massive search that turned up nothing but silence. Yet the most telling clues lay not in the underbrush, but in the shifting stories of their parents. Inconsistencies in wake-up times and disappearance dates. Contradictions in what children wore and which items were recovered. Uneasy pauses in search efforts. Requests for surveillance footage predating the disappearance. A home environment marked by instability. All these red flags point to one inescapable conclusion. The parents deceived us all. They crafted a narrative designed to deflect suspicion, delay scrutiny, and control the flow of information. Whether their deception concealed an unspeakable tragedy, a cover-up of neglect, or something darker remains to be seen. But the first step toward truth is recognizing the deception that has clouded this case. As the RCMP continues its work, now firmly treating the disappearance as a criminal investigation, one hope endures. That the world will see Lilly and Jack not as names on a missing persons bulletin, but as children whose story demands nothing less than relentless pursuit of the facts. Because when innocence vanishes in silence, it is the echoes of deception that must guide us home.